Good morning. Today's lecture is regarding genetic code and translation. The learning objectives of today's topic are: describe genetic code and Ober's hypothesis, describe the mechanism of translation, describe inhibitors of translation and their clinical importance in medicine. The genetic code. The information needed to direct the synthesis of protein is contained in the mRNA in the form of genetic code. The, the genetic code is the nucleotide sequence of mRNA that determines the sequence of amino acids in the protein. Codons are a group of three adjacent bases that specify the amino acid of protein. There are 20 standard amino acids present. These 20 standard amino acids has got 61 codons. Altogether there are 64 codons available. Of the 64 codons, 61 code for these 20 amino acids, which are called as standard amino acids. These are called as standard amino acids because they take part in the synthesis of protein. So these 20 amino acid has got 61 codons, and remaining 3 codons like UAA, UAG, UGA are called as termination codons or nonsense codons. Then characteristic of the genetic code. There are 64 possible codon sequences. 3 of the 64 possible nucleotide triplets UAA, UAG, UGA do not code for any amino acid. These are called as nonsense codons as discussed earlier. These nonsense codons are arbitrarily named as amber, ochre and opal. Then the characteristics of the genetic code. The genetic code is degenerate but unambiguous. This means as there are 61 codons for 20 amino acids, one amino acid has more than one codon and the code is refers to as degenerate. Although as amino acids may have more than one codon, each codon specifies only one amino acid. Thus, the genetic code is unambiguous. You can see in the diagram where the methionine and tryptophan has got only one codon, but the serine, leucine and arginine have got 6 different codons which code for the same amino acid. Codons that designate the same amino acids are called as synonyms. Two amino acids, methionine and tryptophan, each have only one codon. The remaining amino acids have multiple codons. Example, arginine has got 6 different codons which are called as synonyms. The code is almost universal. This means what? From in each and every organism, the amino acid has got the same code. Whatever may be the country, whatever may be the organism, but the same amino acid has got the same code. That means the code is universal. So there is universal acceptability of this code. But there are few exceptions to the universality of genetic code are found in human mitochondria, and they are UGA codes for tryptophan instead of stop codon. AUA codes for methionine instead of isoleucine. CUA codes for threonine instead of leucine. So these are the exceptions which are found in human mitochondria. Code is non-overlapping and without punctuations. So it means what? The code is continuous. During translation, the code is read sequentially without spacer basis, taken 3 at a time. So this can be read as AUG, CUA, GAC, UUU. So this indicates the code is non-overlapping without any punctuations. Then comes the Ober hypothesis for codon-anticodon interactions. The third base of most codons pair rather loosely with the corresponding base of its anticodon. The third base of such codons are called as ovals. Crick proposed an assumption to explain these data on the basis of a set of relationships called as Abel hypothesis. So, according to him, the first two bases of an mRNA codon always forms the strong Watson-Crick base pairs with the corresponding bases of the tRNA anticodon and confer most of the coding specificity. The first base of anticodon determines the number of codons recognized by the tRNA. When the first base of anticodon is C or A, base pairing is specific and only one codon is recognized by the tRNA. When the first base is U or G, binding is less specific and two different codons may be read. When ionosine is the first nucleotide of an anticodon, three different codons can be recognized as observed in this diagram. When the amino acid is specified by several different codons, the codon that differ in either of the first two bases requires different tRNAs. A minimum of 32 tRNAs are required to translate all 61 codons. Then translation. The pathway of protein biosynthesis is called as translation. Translation is the process by which ribosomes convert the information carried by mRNA in the form of genetic code to the synthesis of a new protein. Translation occurs in cytosol on ribosomes and is guided by mRNA. Basic plan of protein synthesis in eukaryotes is similar to that in prokaryotes. The basic requirements for the translation are mRNA, tRNAs, ribosomes, energy in the form of ATP and GTP, enzymes and specific protein factors. So this is how the mRNA looks, with a cap, with a tail, with an initiating codon and with a termination codon. This is how a activated or amino acyl tRNA looks. So tRNA, which gets an amino acid and forms active tRNA to form amino acyl tRNA. Then ribosomes. So the prokaryotic ribosomes are of 70S type and eukaryotic ribosomes are of 80S type. 70S ribosome subunits are 50S and 30S, and 80S ribosome subunits are 60S and 40S. So these 30S subunit of 70S ribosome consists of 16S RNA and 21 proteins. The 50S subunit of prokaryotic ribosome consists of 55 rRNA, 23 rRNA, 36 proteins, and 60S subunit of eukaryotic ribosome consists of 5S RNA, 28 5rRNA, 5 to 8 sRNA, 47 proteins, and 40S subunit of eukaryotic ribosome consists of 18 srRNA and 33 proteins. So this is the difference between the prokaryotic ribosome and eukaryotic ribosome. The stages of eukaryotic translation are: first is activation of amino acid, then initiation, elongation and termination. Let us see one by one. Activation of amino acids. Activation of amino acid take place in the cytosol. In activation of amino acid, each of the 20 amino acid is covalently attached to their respective tRNA at the expense of ATP by amino acyl tRNA synthetase enzyme. So a tRNA combines with amino acid in presence of enzyme amino acyl tRNA synthase. So in presence of this enzyme, the tRNA combines with amino acid to form amino acyl tRNA. So this is activation of amino acid or the formation of amino acyl tRNA. Next is initiation. Initiation has got 4 different stages. So they are ribosomal dissociation, formation of 43S pre-initiation complex, formation of 48S initiation complex, and formation of 80S initiation complex. Let us see one by one. So ribosomes have got three different sites which are extended from 60S to 40S subunit, and the three different sites are A, P and E. A site is called as amino acyl site, and P site is called as peptidyl site, and E site is called as exit site. A and P sites bind to the amino acyl tRNAs. E site binds only to the uncharged tRNAs. So this means what? The tRNA which contains amino acid comes and binds at P site and A site, and after handing over the amino acid to the growing polypeptide chain, so the uncharged tRNA is translocated or removed from the E site. Then the initiation of translation begins with ribosomal dissociation, where the 40th subunit of ribosome binds with two initiation factors. So they are eukaryotic initiation factor 3 and eukaryotic initiation factor 1A, and dissociates the 80S ribosome into two subunits, that is 40S and 60S. Once the dissociation is over, then the next stage is formation of 43S pre-initiation complex. So here the binding of GTP with the initiation factor 2 occurs. So here the GTP binds with the eukaryotic initiation factor 2, and this GTP along with eukaryotic initiation factor 2 binds to the methionine tRNA. So this GTP, eukaryotic initiation factor 2 and methionine tRNA forms a ternary complex which binds to the 40th ribosomal subunit to form 43S pre-initiation complex. So this 43S pre-initiation complex is stabilized by association with eukaryotic initiation factor 3 and eukaryotic initiation factor 1A, which are present in it at the time of dissociation of ribosome into 60S and 40S subunit. So they help in stabilization. Eukaryotic initiation factor 3 and eukaryotic initiation factor 1A helps in stabilization of 43S pre-initiation complex. The next stage is formation of 48S initiation complex. So binding of mRNA to 43S pre-initiation complex forms 48S initiation complex. The association of mRNA with 43S initiation complex requires cap binding protein or eukaryotic initiation factor 4 along with ATP. The next stage is formation of 80S initiation complex. Combination of 43S initiation complex with 60S ribosomal subunit forms 80S initiation complex. Hydrolysis of GTP, which is bound to the eukaryotic initiation factor 2 by eukaryotic initiation factor 5 occurs, and this causes a release of initiation factors bound to the 48S initiation complex. At this stage, the methionine tRNA is on the P site of the ribosome, so that its anticodon pairs with the initiating AUG codon on the mRNA and is now ready for the elongation process. Next is elongation. Elongation can be divided into following steps. They are binding of amino acyl tRNA specified by the next codon in the mRNA to the A site, formation of peptide bond between the amino acids present in the P site and A site of the ribosome. Once the peptide bond is formed, then the translocation of ribosome along with the mRNA occurs. Then the elimination of deacylated tRNA from P site to E site occurs. So these are the different stages of elongation. So where it starts with the binding of amino acid tRNA specified by the next codon in the mRNA to the A site. Then there is a formation of peptide bond between the two amino acids present in the P site and A site of the ribosome. Then there is translocation of ribosome along with the mRNA. Then there is the elimination of deacylated tRNA from P site to E site. That is, uncharged tRNA is removed. So this is how the peptide bond is formed between the two amino acid present at the A site and P site. So once the peptide bond is formed, the empty tRNA is removed. So this is also the diagram which shows the formation of peptide bond present between the amino acids present between the P site and A site. Once the peptide bond is formed, then the uncharged tRNA is removed. So here the formation of peptide bond is in the presence of enzyme peptidyl transferase. So here is a diagram which shows the translocation of ribosome along with the mRNA. So A site is ready for another amino acid tRNA, and the elongation steps are repeated until the nonsense codon appears in the A site on the ribosome and the translation stops. So once the nonsense codon appears at the A site, then the translation is stopped and the methionine is present at the N-terminal end, and the last amino acid which has been translated is present at the C-terminal end of the polypeptide. The ribosomal complex with the elongated polypeptide and appearance of termination codon of mRNA in A site is observed in this diagram. Then termination. Elongation steps are repeated until one of the three, that is UAA, UAG, UGA termination or nonsense codons of mRNA appears in the A site. Once the ribosome reaches the termination codon, the releasing factor are capable of recognizing the termination signal present at the A site. The prokaryotes have three releasing factors, that is releasing factor 1, releasing factor 2 and releasing factor 3, but the eukaryote has got single releasing factor, that is eukaryotic releasing factor. So releasing factors GTP and peptidyl transferase hydrolysis and peptidyl tRNA bond. So this hydrolysis releases the polypeptide and tRNA from the P site and the termination is completed, and the translation along with the termination is completed. Upon hydrolysis, the release of polypeptide and mRNA is then released from the ribosome. Ribosome then dissociates into 60S and 40S subunits, which are then again recycled. In prokaryotes, the first amino acid methionine is modified by formation of its amino group to N-formyl methionine, and initiator tRNA is N-formyl methionine tRNA. Here it is methionine tRNA. So that is the difference between the prokaryote and eukaryote. First amino acid of prokaryote and eukaryote. Then inhibitors of protein synthesis. Inhibitors of protein synthesis are streptomycin, tetracycline, puromycin, chloramphenicol, erythromycin and diphtheria toxin. So streptomycin, initiation of protein synthesis is inhibited by streptomycin. It causes misreading of mRNA and interferes with the normal pairing between the codons and anticodons. Then tetracycline, it inhibits the binding of amino acid tRNA to the ribosomal complex. In fact, tetracycline can also block eukaryotic protein synthesis. however, does not happen since eukaryotic cell membrane is not permeable to this drug. Puromycin. This has a structural resemblance to the amino acid tRNA. Puromycin enters the A site and gets incorporated into the growing peptide chain and causes its release. This antibiotic prevents protein synthesis in both prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotes. Chloramphenicol. It acts as a competitive inhibitor of the enzyme peptidyl transferase and thus interferes with elongation of the peptide chain. Erythromycin. It inhibits translocation by binding with 50S subunit of bacterial ribosome. Then diphtheria toxin. It prevents the translocation in eukaryote